Welcome, welcome back, guys. And I've done it. I've cranked the numbers. I've looked through all their kits and their lists and all their moves, and I've made my own tier list for every UR in the Gacha in SD Gundam, and just ignore that. But I will make a few points here before we start. One, I don't count the free URs because one, most people don't have them, and two, they're freebies, they don't count. Two, I am counting terrain when I account for my placement on the list because that is going to be important later down in the missions. Which suit you can and can't use, you really want to keep track of that, and overall it's really going to help you down the line when you know what suit can and can't be used on a map because they could be broken, but it doesn't matter when you can't even use them in most maps. So yeah, I am also accounting their stats, their abilities, everything they do, and I just want to say before we start, there is no bad UR. They are all good in their own way. There's no, well, this suit isn't usable because it's in the bottom of the list. It's still usable. URs are, at least at the moment, all the URs are good. They're better than SSRs. You want to use URs. There's no reason why you shouldn't be using URs instead of SSRs unless you just like them. I'm also accounting the pilots because they're a package deal. You get the suit, you get the pilot. It's only fair. So yeah, the pilots help them and all that. So yeah, without further ado, let's start. But yeah, there is no wrong answer. If it is your favorite suit, it's perfectly fine to go after that. It doesn't matter, at least at the moment. It's the beginning of the game. It's not hard right now until you progress later. So just pick whatever is your favorite. It's perfectly fine. Alright then, without further ado, let's get started. And starting off in the bottom of the list, a little bit of a spoiler alert. Let me just, oops. It is the narrative Apex. Poor little narrative. I feel like this thing gets shafted in almost every Gundam game, and this one is no exception. Narrative Apex is a mobile armor, which means they have bigger hitboxes. This one actually has really good movement, pretty low attack, really high defense, and really high HP for being a mobile armor. Really good tags too. Problem is, it can only be used in space and atmospheric, and that's about it. No ground, no sea, no underwater, only two maps. And while in the beginning of the game that's not such a big deal, later on you're going to realize that that is pretty bad, especially that it's only really good in one map, and that's space. And it's not like there's not a lot of space missions, but you really want variety for your suits, especially if you're going to like level it up and all that, and then you can barely use it for any map. So here's the skills: large beam saber, decent attack, decent energy. Everything here is decent. It's not blowing me away. Barrage EX is a beam physical, pretty good attack power, 50 energy on the higher side. It has absolute hit, every EX does. Inflict accuracy down 12% is not really that good in my opinion. If they're going to miss, it's only like 12%, like if they're 100% going to hit you, you use this, it's 88%. Still an 88% you're getting hit, which is still high, so I wouldn't say that's good. And that's its best EX weapon too, so like it's not that great. Its map weapon costs 60 energy, which is on the high side, with only 33,000 power, which is sort of low, and its effect is inflict attack down 15% on the enemy, which isn't that good. There are other suit tanks that do 25% for a lot less energy and a lot more power. So Abilities increase defense by 15%. That is solid. Accuracy, not solid. When the enemy attacks with special weapons, which not a lot have in the first place, reduce damage taken by 30%. Well, some bosses do, but like you won't know when they're going to do it. So, I mean, you don't know when they're going to do it, and they can aim for another unit and not the narrative because, the AI is weird like that sometimes. So, this might not even be used most of the time unless you're throwing the narrative in the front line. And even then, do you really want to? It's a good tank, but I don't think it'll survive that much if it's getting it beaten multiple times over and over. It can be a good tank, but like I said, it can really only be used in space and some atmospheric maps. So yeah, here's Jonah. Skills are reduce energy consumption by 20%. That's solid. Reduce damage taken by 20%. Also solid. And then restore HP by 50%, which is really solid. Like, these are good skills. Don't get me wrong. But you're not always going to be using them. You're going to run out of SP eventually. So yeah. Support defense is really good. Every tank has that. New type, increase accuracy and evasion by 5%, which is mid. And then pretty much every UR gets this when you level them up. So you can just account that for almost every unit. But yeah, it just doesn't wow me. And the fact that you can only use it in 2 maps is a deal breaker. It's a good tank. It has the stuff it needs. The problem is the maps, and its weapons don't exactly wow me at all. If this was inflict attack damage down like 25%, then I would recommend it. It would probably be higher on the list, but unfortunately, and also it has no way to restore energy other than Jonah's skill 20%. But if you're going to spam that, then yeah. So basically, this is just a tank that you want on the map to get hit, and that's it. And while that is a tank's job, I am expecting a little bit more because the other tanks do a lot more. So yeah, that's the narrative, bottom of the list. Next is the striker, Kai. Is that what they call him? Where is it? Where is it? It was right here. Nope, not this one. Give me a sec. Here it is. Alright. Striker Custom EX. Not a lot of tags. Good terrain. Solid. You should expect that from, you want space, ground, and I guess sea, underwater. Those are the main ones. Good energy. Lowish health. Mid movement. You want 5 for an attacker. 82,100 attack. Solid. Really low defense and decent mobility. Here are its skills. They're mostly the same, honestly. 33,000 power, Musu Raiden, range 1 to 2, increase critical damage by 15%, but you only got 10% crit, so not the best. 4,500, 36 energy, Bakusen Rekon, alright, 1 to 3 range, 4,200 power, 31 energy, decent. And then it's EX, Sora, Gacha, So Kuki EX. Yeah. Range 1 to 3. Power 6 to 300 on the higher side. And then 58 energy, which is also on the high side. The lower your remaining hit is, the greater weapon power increase. Only by 12%. And I'll just say this right now. You don't want to be losing health, especially when you're an attacker. When you're an attacker, you want to one-shot or be close enough to one-shot. Or use your barrage allies to help you one-shot. You don't want to lose HP and then go back at it because you never know. You could be caught with the unit and then killed. You don't want, and the 12% isn't that much either. So yeah, I do not like Su to have with less remaining HP because you don't want to lose HP, especially for an attacker. If it was a tank, I understand, but he's an attacker. You don't want to get hit, obviously. Abilities, increase attack by 15%, always solid to have for an attacker. When vigor is super high or higher, increase own attack by 15%. While it's not hard to get super high or higher, you basically need to one shot, like I said again, the enemy to get there, and then you want to keep one shotting. But sometimes, in higher difficulty missions, this thing probably won't be one shotting because it only has the 15% up and then the pilot skill. So you really need to take into account how you're going to get this. Like, do you need to damage an enemy? Do you need support damage and all that? You really want to get this, but the problem is you need to get there first. And like I said, it's not hard, but you just have to keep that in mind. When the enemy attacks a physical weapon, reduce damage taken by 30%. Always solid, that's not bad. It's always good to have some sort of damage reduction. He was a pilot, very high melee, by the way. Range is pretty pathetic, but it's not range suit, so. Skills, attack burst level 4, always good. Damage dealt to enemies by 20%. That's always good, obviously. During the next fight, after activating the effect, increase accuracy by 100, which is not really that great. You don't really want to waste your SP for that. Sway, during the next fight, after activating the effect, increase evasion by 100%. You usually don't want to waste your SP on evading. You don't want to get hit, like I said. You want to hit and run, because you want to save it for your attack burst so you can one shot or do a lot of damage. So sway is good, don't get me wrong, but you don't really want to use it. It's more of a last resort. Abilities, increase damage level 3 by 15%. Always solid. So if you stack this up and then the base striker and then this, you basically have a 55%, which is solid. Not the greatest. It's good, but there's a lot of, you need to build up to it, I guess. Increase MP by 6, that's always good. I will always, like that. Problem is, this suit is just very, the problems I was saying before. It is for every UR, by the way. Don't really count that. Oh, I need to sneeze. Ooh, it's coming. Sorry about that. But yeah, it seems solid on paper. You get the 50% and then the 15% when you're vigor, and you get the 20% from the ability. Like, it can do damage and that's when it's fully leveled up, Like, you need to level up your pilot and all that. You don't get some of these abilities right off the bat, like the pilot skills. So yeah, keep that in mind. It can do really good damage, 15%, 15%. And then when you account the pilot skills, if you use this, that is a 50%. And then you get this one, which is 65. That's basically at full power. You need to level up the pilot though, so keep that in mind. The only thing I don't like I said, lower the remaining HP is, and getting to super high or higher, it just seems like an extra requirement. Kind of annoying, but that's how it is. It's a good attacker. Just keep in mind the terrain and all that. But yeah, that's the striker custom. Good attacker. Just some problems I don't really like. Next up is the Sazabi, which is also an attacker. Where is it? Where is that pesky Sazabi? Also, I do have a runny nose at the moment, so my apologies if I sound a little bit I don't know what's going on there. Alright. Anyway, here is the Sazabi. Lots of good tags. Here are its stats. Really good attack. Really low defense. Keep that in mind. 5 movement is always good. 300 energy is good. Decent health. Good mobility. It's really solid on the board. Here are its skills: beam shot rifle, beam tomahawk. It's basically your typical 3000 power, good energy consumption. Funnels, 2 to 5 range, 3900 attack, 32 energy. Lower your remaining HP is, again, you don't want to get hit. 7% too, which isn't really worth it. You want to save up for the long rifle. That's the move you're going to be spamming the most. 3 to 5 range, really good. 5200 attack power, good. And 47 energy, good. On the lower side of the damage compared to the other attackers we'll talk about, but it has its reason. The further you are from the enemy, the greater weapon power increase, up to 12%. This is really good because it has 5 range. You can just spam it from the back. You don't want to get close. You want to spam from the back, so you'll get that extra attack power up. But yeah, really solid, really good attack. I think it'll jump up to around 6,000 with the 12%, which is good, and you're only wasting 47 energy. So yeah, it's a really good trade-off. Abilities, increase attack by 15%, always solid when hip is 50% or below. Again, I don't like that. I don't like HP requirement. And then increase own accuracy and evasion by 5%, which is alright. No energy up skills and recovery skills, which is always kind of bad when you're an attacker and you want to keep spamming your EX. The pilot char, I do believe, has reduced energy consumption, but you're going to notice that you're probably going to run out over the match if it's longer, so keep that in mind. You want to use this every time you want to attack because you don't want to run out of energy too fast, which also clashes with the attack words level 4. You kind of have to choose. I believe you only get 15 energy, I believe, every match, so keep that in mind. You either want to save energy so you can keep spamming the ultimate EX, or do you want to, do more damage but then sacrifice the energy? It's up to you, and I don't really like that in an attacker where you have to choose which one you want to do. During the next 5 after activating effect, increase range by 1, which is really good for this suit because it has 5 range, so you could technically get 6 range. You could snipe almost across the map, which is good, but you do have to waste an SP, 5 SP for it, so yeah. Increase damage dealt level 3, own damage dealt by 15%, always solid. Increase on awakening reaction by 20%, and that's alright. And then this is actually a new one. When party units with specific type do damage taken by 15%, and while that is good, you kind of want the 15% damage up too for an attacker. It's kind of weird that he didn't get it, considering that, you want to, you want damage for an attacker. That's just the way it is. Like, really weird placements. Like, I do like the further away damage. I do not like HP lower, because if you're halfway across the map, you don't want to get hit, obviously. You kind of want to get close to activate this, then go back, retreat. It's weird. I don't like it. Do not like these HP requirements, and like I said, you kind of have to choose between spamming energy, reduce energy, or more damage. Good suit, but I don't like the way they did it. The HP thing and the energy consumption, you kind of have to choose. Yeah, that's the Sazabi. Next up is the UR Gundam. UR Gundam is a solid tank. There's nothing wrong with it. The problem is it has no energy up, and it has pretty low energy on the relative side, 285. 4 movement, which is also meh. Pretty low attack, decent defense, and pretty low mobility, but its HP is really high. Good tags right there. The terrain is basically the normal space, ground, and underwater. Beam saber, beam red, these are all basically the same. They all have like 3,000 attack power, 21 energy, etc. Hyper bazooka to the 4 range, 3,500 power, 27 energy, inflict mobility down 15% on the enemy, which, it's alright. Beam saber EX, range 1 to 4. Now, you kind of want 5. A little bit nitpicky, but you kind of want 5. But 4 is alright. 5,200 power on the low side, but again, it's a tank, so it's fine. 47 energy, that's pretty good. Inflict attack down 25% on the enemy, which is really good for a tank. You want to protect your allies. Increase max HP by 15%, solid. Increase invasion by 5%, throwaway skill, and then increase mobility by 5%, another throwaway skill. You kind of want energy up so you can spam your EX to protect your allies. Doesn't have that. It only has HP up, and then these two throwaway skills. But it is a solid tank. It's not there to do damage, it's just there to tank. But unlike the narrative, it has more versatility. Reduce damage taken by 20%, one turn. Solid. During the next move after any effect, you get 1 plus movement, which you don't really need that. I would have preferred an energy up. It should have already had 5 movement, but it only has 4, so a little bit of a buzzkill right there. During the next fact after the effect, increase evasion by 100%, which it's good. But for a tank, you want to be taking the hits. You know, you can support defend and then activate this, and it's basically like a free turn where you can protect your allies. But you only get one of these, so you kind of have to use it wisely. Sport defense, always good to have. Increase awakening reaction by 20%. And then EX skill, increase own defense by 20% when executing support defense. When piloting unit, increase damage dealt to enemy, reduce damage. So yeah, it is a good tank. It's there to tank. It's not there to do damage. It is there to tank, save your allies, and that's pretty much it. Once it runs out of energy, it's kapoosh. It's over for the Gundam. At that point, you kind of just tank, you protect your allies, and that's it. You want to use your energy wisely by only using this. Do not use any other moves. It's not worth it. Only use the Beam Saber EX because you're not getting any more energy than you already have. You can use your ship ability to give it energy, but like it really should have had a energy up ability. It just kind of hurts it that it doesn't, but it is a really good tank. It's going to tank. It's going to save your allies. It's there to do one job, and it does it really well. If you're expecting damage, then this is the wrong tank for you. But yeah, there is the Gundam. Next up is the new Gundam at 10. Well, I love new Gundam. I wasn't really wowed by its abilities. It kind of reminds me of the Sazabi a little bit, but slightly better. And that's because it has one of the tankiest skills, even though it's a support. Kind of weird, but free terrain, the typical. HP is 6400 on the really low slide. 330 energy on the really high side. 5 movement is always nice. Decent attack, low defense, and really good mobility. Let's go down. Like I said, every beam saber and beam rifle is basically the same. There's nothing to talk about there. Fin funnels is a special type. By the way, special just means funnels, so if you were wondering. 2 to 5 range, always nice. Inflict defense down 50% on the enemy. Solid, especially for 32 energy, but there are better ones, so meh. May attack, good energy consumption though. And then it's EX skill, Fin Funnels EX, Beam Special, 1 to 5 range, always good. Okay attack power, and meh. Energy 47, that's solid. Absolute hit, the usual. Inflict damage taken from special weapons up 25% on the enemy, which is very niche because that's only funnels. So you kind of, if you're building like a funnel team, I guess it can work out. But just keep in mind that's only for funnels. While other supports that I'll talk about later down the line don't need that requirement. So abilities increase max energy by 15%, always good to have. And then one of the most busted skills in the game, but for some reason only this suit has it. When the enemy attacks with beam range, will reduce damage taken by 50%. Why on earth is this thing not a tank when it wants to be a tank? It's so weird. I don't get it. And then Psycho Frame, increase accuracy and evasion by 5%. Meh. Solid, but not great. Kind of throwaway. And then Amuro, his skills, attack burst level 4, like it wants to do damage, and then it wants to tank, and then it wants to support. Like it's kind of just an all-rounder, jack of all. What was the saying? Like master of none and all that. Like this is basically the new Gundam. Doesn't excel at anything, but it's not bad at anything either. When fighting, increase damage up to 20%, always good. Reduce energy consumption by 20%, always good. During the next fight, by activating your effect, increase range by 1, meh. So if you were like building a funnel team, you could like spam the EX and then spam this skill to make sure you don't run out of energy. So that's always nice. And it has an energy up ability passive, so this support attack, every support has it. Increase the awakening reaction by 20%, decent. Support attack counter plus 1 time, that's really good. So I believe you get 2. You can help 2 times when an ally is attacking. So yeah. Oh, I got another sneeze. Sorry about that. Like I said, feeling a little bit under the weather right now, but They had 2 support attacks is always nice. Like I said, this suit kind of just wants to be everything, but nothing at the same time. When piloting units with specific tags and the usual. But yeah, New Gundam is like a jack of all trades, master of none. It wants to tank, it wants to do damage, and I don't know why everything's Chinese now, what the heck? Or Japanese, weird. But let me refresh it, there you go. But yeah, it has a solid kit. The problem is it just kind of wants to do everything. The stats are meh, low, decent attack, low defense. I don't know, like it wants to be everything, but it just can't. It's solid, but it's not like amazing. You know, the skills seem really good on paper. I think on a funnel team, it'll really shine for the 25% defense down and the 50% against beam ranged weapons. But yeah, that's the New Gundam. Solid. It's just really weirdly designed. Kind of just wants to be everything. Moving on, at number 9, oops, spoilers, the Unicorn Gundam. And I'm kind of iffy on the Unicorn Gundam in this game. It's also an attacker. Mostly all these URs are attackers. Really good tags. The usual terrain. Low health because it's an attacker. It's the usual. 300 energy is solid. 5 movement is solid. 8200 is higher on the high side. 68 defense is alright. And then 72 mobility, 7200. I'll just say this right now. These weapons, they look really good on paper. But like you don't want to waste your energy on them. The Unicorn is kind of a one-hit nuker. It wants to be. You don't really want to use these unless you have to. You want to save your energy for this, the Beam Tonfa EX. Range 1 to 3, 6500 attack power, and 60 energy cost, which is on the stupidly high side. The closer you are to the enemy, the greater weapon power up increased by 12%. You want to get in their face, and you want to use this, and you want them to die. Simple as that. You don't really want to waste your energy on any other moves unless you really have to. You want to go up to their face and use this and then watch them die. Simple as that. It is a nuker, and with other supports that inflict defense down like 25%, it's only going to be even better. So keep that in mind if you're using the Unicorn. It's basically a nuker. That's all it's here to do. Increase attack by 15%. When the enemy attacks with beam weapon, also 50%, same as the New Gundam. I think it works out a lot better here because this is a attacker. You want him to go to the front line and punch them in the face. Increase accuracy and evasion by 10%, which is more solid on this suit than it is on the New Gundam because, like I said, you want to go up to their face. Good melee. I kind of wish it was around the 800. High speed is affect movement by 1 in all terrain, so decent if you really need to get in front of them, but you want to save your SP for the attack burst 20% of, because like I said, you're a nuker, you want the full damage. Increase invasion by 100%. Sway, always good to have, but if you really want to save for the attack burst, you only use this if you have to. Increase own damage by 15%. Increase own accuracy invasion by 5%, which is meh. Pilot units increase damage to 15%. So at full level, once you unlock this ability, 15%, 15%. Activate the skill. That's 55%. And then you go back to the unicorn, extra 12%. If you are up close, you have to be right in their face, like range 1. That's an extra 12%, so that's like 67%. And then increase attack by 15%, which is around 82% damage in total. It's full power. And then you throw a support in her and you put defense down 25% on the enemy. And yeah, you can see where you can see what I'm saying there. It is a nuker. You want to nuke them. Only use this. All the other skills are alright, but yeah, you want to nuke. It is a nuker. Nuke them. You kind of have to build up everything to get there, though. Also, it has no energy up skills. Banaji doesn't have any, right? Nope, you don't have any. So yeah, once you're out of energy, you're done. You want to kill. This is like a boss killer, in my opinion. You want to kill the boss fast, and if you run out of energy, you're kind of done. So yeah, really good boss killer, high HP boss killer. Remember that. This is only at like, I'm talking about full power unicorn, full. Once you get the pilot skill and all that, it is a really good nuker. It seems really good on paper against bosses, but just remember, once you run out of energy, and you're going to run out of energy because 60 energy is really high, you're kind of done for. And I believe this is like at max stats, the energy 300. So when you get this right off the bat, you're probably only going to have like one use of this unless you level it up. So keep that in mind. That is a really good nuker, but it's going to run out of energy extremely fast, and that's about it. But yeah, that's the unicorn, really good nuker. Number 8 is the Barbatos 6th form, and in my opinion, the best tank you are at the moment. Not a lot, there's only 2, so if I can find it, it was right here. It's here somewhere. There it is. Lots of good tags. Tank. Decent terrain, the usual. 90,000 health. Really solid. Only like 1,000 less than the Gundam. 270 energy on the really low side, but it's here to tank and weirdly do damage. 5 movement. It's already better than the Gundam. Low on the lower attack side, and on the really decent defense side, it's a little bit of both. And then 6100 mobility. Here are its skills: long sword, and then wrench maze. They actually have higher attack power than usual. Like I said, this is a weird tank that wants to be a hybrid of both. It wants to do damage while also tanking. 170 auto cannon, 3100 power, solid. Eye of Vijnana limiter off. Another skill has only 1 to 2 range, and the effect isn't that great. Accuracy down 7% on the enemy, pretty meh. Decent power, decent energy cost, but you probably want to save your energy since remember, only 270. Wrench Mace EX, 1 to 3 range, 5600 attack power, 51 energy on the higher side. Inflict attack down 25% on the enemy. It's the same thing as the Gundam pretty much, with slightly more attack but with 1 less range, so keep that in mind. Ability, increase max HP by 15%. This is why it's better than the Gundam. Restore energy by 5%. Sure, it's not a lot, but it adds up in the end. You're going to need energy. When the enemy attacks with beam weapons, reduce damage taken by 30%. Also solid for a tank. Look, this is the pilot skills here. He has really bad range, but that's to be expected. You don't really want to range either way. You only got 1 range. Melee is solid. Defense is solid. Like I said, it's a hybrid between an attacker and a tank. It kind of wants to do both. Reduce damage taken by 20%. Good. The 20% damage up. Like I said, it kind of wants to be both. You can either play as a tank or you can play as an attacker. And then restore energy by 50%, which is really damn good. You kind of want to save this and then maybe use this if you have to. It, like I said, wants to be a tank, wants to be an attacker. Support defense 1, increase own critical rate by 20%, which that's kind of weird. It's alright, but it's not the best, especially for this suit. It's just a weird extra bonus. I doubt you're really going to see that much, but it's there. Support defense 1 plus time, always good for a tank. And then the usual 15% damage, and then reduced damage. So yeah, I like what they were doing with the Barbatos. It's weird. It wants to do damage, but it also wants to tank. It like gives you an option to either, hey, do you want to use the power up for the wrench makes EX and do a little bit more damage? Or do you want to tank and save up to recover 50% of your HP and then keep tanking and going back at it? Just like in the show, you know, it never stopped. It kept going. And I think maybe that's just my opinion, but I think it's really cool that maybe that was the goal here, that it won't stop. It can either do damage or it can either heal itself, tank, and keep going. So yeah, that's my opinion. Really solid tank, probably the best tank in the game at the moment. But yeah, that has a Gundam Aerial 6 form. Really good tank. It wants to do a little bit of both, and there's not really a problem with that. So yeah, just remember the energy. You only get 5% up, but it's still better than the other tanks because they don't even have that. So yeah. Alrighty then. Next up is the Phoenix Gundam. Phoenix Gundam is a different thing. And here is where terrain actually matters, where we get to the juicy terrain stuff, because this has 4. If it has 4 terrain, it's already a lot better than other suits. Also, give me a minute, I need to check. So apparently I didn't have any music on the background. My apologies. You know, I'm kind of sick at the moment, so a little dumb-headed, you know. So if you were hearing me in the eternal darkness and all that, you know, my apologies. I believe we were talking about the Phoenix Gundam, not Phoenix. Phoenix, different. Where is it? It was just here. I think I got out of it. Oh, where is it? There it is. Like I said, Phoenix Gundam, a lot of good tags, really good terrain. Skills, stats, I mean, really good energy, really good movement. Decent attack, really good defense for a supporter, and really good HP for a supporter too. Like, its stats are really solid, and it has good terrain. The skills, these are the usual. Mega Beam Cannon is slightly higher than usual. 2 to 4 range is always nice to have. Ooh, hiccup. Feather Funnel, 2 to 5 range, always nice to have 5 range. 3900 power, 32 energy, solid. Inflict damage saving with beam weapon of 50% from the enemy, also really solid because most units use beams. So, and then the EX skill, Burning Fire Assault, 1 to 5 range, really good. 4600 power on the lower side, 43 energy on the okay-ish side. Inflict damage saving from physical weapons up 25% on the enemy, which is really good. But later down the line, you'll see that there is some supports that don't have the requirement, like special weapons or physical weapons. But depending on the team you put this on, the physical weapons can be pretty good. Alternative series, UC series, and all that. So I guess it has its uses, but it's just not as good as the other supports I'll talk about soon. Max energy by 15%, always good. Increase accuracy and evading by 5%, man. Restoring own HP by 10% at the start of every turn, that's really solid. And considering it has a high HP and really good defense, it's not going to be dying anytime soon unless you just throw it out there. Here's the pilot. Decent stats all around, they're just all solid. Skills, high speed, that's basically movement plus 1. Decent. Have to cut there, sorry about that. Lock on during the next 5 to activating effect, increase accuracy by 100. Man, and then one of the best skills I've seen in the game so far, restore energy by 50%. I don't need to tell you how busted that is. You could pretty much put him on any support unit and it would work because of how busted this skill is. You basically spam all your moves. Nah, I want more, and then you use that 50% energy up, and then you can keep going at it. Really solid skill, probably the best skill in the game, one of them in my opinion. abilities, the usual support counter. Increase awaken by 20%, always solid. Support attack +1, that's good. And then the usual, well, this is different. Restore squad HP by 5% at the start of every turn. That's really meh. Like, it's decent, but it's not amazing. Obviously, it's only 5%. So yeah, that's the Phoenix Gundam. The pilot has one of the most broken skills in the game. It's not running out of energy anytime soon since it wants you to keep spamming it. So if you build a team that use physical weapons, guess what? You could keep spamming this and they're going to benefit from it because you are getting energy up. You're not running out of energy anytime soon. So yeah, that's the Phoenix Gundam. Really solid, really good terrain, really good skills. The only thing I don't like is the physical weapon up requirement. But like I said, one of the most busted skills in the game, and you can put them on any support. So keep that in mind. You don't always have to use it for their main suit. It's just really recommended. But if you really wanted to spice things up, you could put them on any other support unit and they will do just fine because you have the 50% energy up. So yeah, it's really solid. I don't like physical weapon. I don't like the requirements. Dumb, but yeah, solid enough. It's just a good all-rounder support with good stats. That's the Phoenix Gundam, and next up is the spoilers. Crossbone Gundam at 6. And I do like what they did with the cross. It's kind of RNG based. It's based off criticals. Really good terrain. You always want 4. Always nice. Not much tags as I would like. Decent HP on the slightly higher side. 285 energy is a bit meh. 5 movement is good always. 8700 attack is really high for an attacker. 6400 defense is meh. And then 7100 mobility. Here are its skills. The Beam Zamba, increase critical damage by 15%. 5% crit, not the best, but you're going to see that this suit and pilot have kind of a gimmick with critical attacks, so keep that in mind. Screw Web is meh, it's whatever. Zambuster is whatever. These are the throwaway skills, kinda. And then the Screw Web EX, 1 to free range, not the best, not the worst. 6000 power, really good. 55 energy, slightly on the higher side, but you're going to see why. 20% critical, and then increase critical damage by 25%. And this is where it starts to get a little bit wacky. The abilities: increase attack by 15%, increase critical damage by 15%, and then when enemy attacks or beam weapons, do damage taken by 30%. So good damage reduction, good attack up, and then good critical damage up. And you're going to notice they do stack 25% and then an extra 15%. That's already a 40% critical damage up. Problem is getting the crit. 20% isn't that much, and that's where the pilot comes in. His abilities: increase 20% fighting, the usual. Increase critical rate by 40%. You want to use him with the crossbow, but it wasn't apparent enough. So the 20% and then add this, that is a 60% critical rate up, and then the extra critical damage that you're going to get. And while I do believe criticals are basically like 2 times damage up, it's going to add up and it's going to hurt a lot to the enemy. Sway is always good. It's more of a last resort though. Increase damage dealt level 3 by 15%, always solid. New type, awakening reaction by 20%, always solid. Well, it's alright. And then the usual 15%. So yeah, keep that in mind. You can use this and increase your critical rate by 40%. Yes, it's still RNG, especially when you're using the Screw Web attack. There's no way to get energy with this unit, and it does have relatively low energy, but the crit is more than worth it, especially with 6000 power. I do believe crits are like 2 times damage, I believe. So not only are you going to have the 15% up and then the other 15% up, and then you level up your unit, your pilot, then it's another 15%, so that's 45%. Then you're increasing critical damage by like 40%. So yeah, if you do all the math and all that, 40% up and then a 2 times the damage up, It's going to hurt if you land the crit. Obviously, it's going to be 60%. I think it increases higher level. Yes, it does. So when you level it up, 30%. It doesn't increase the crit chance though, which is unfortunate. But if you do manage to land the crit with the 60% up, it's going to hurt. It's RNG based, but if you do land it, I think it's going to be even hit harder than the unicorn, I believe. Not sure, but yeah, are a little bit RNG based. But if you do land it with the, I mean, you're not always going to, you know, you can't spam the critical rate 40%. You only got free uses, I believe. But with those free uses, you can basically nuke them while running away, you know. It's basically a one-trick pony. And the attack is really high too. So I do believe it is one of the, probably the best nuker, aside from the other unit I'll talk about. But yeah, that is the Crossbone. A little bit RNG based. Keep that in mind. If you fail the RNG, you know, you kind of failed it. Simple as that. Range isn't the best. Energy is a little bit high and no way to get energy up. So keep that in mind. A little bit RNG, but I do believe it hits harder than the unicorn and all that. If you do land the crit, keep that in mind. But yeah, that is the Crossbone. Next up is, can I like do this a little bit slowly? Yeah, number 5 is the Lesion. I know I'm pronouncing that wrong, but Lesion is a supporter. It's not as good terrain as the other ones, but I think its skills make up for it. 71,000 HP is solid. Really good energy, good movement, good attack, lower defense. Then 7,200 mobility. Here are its skills: twin beam trident, and then beam rifle, and then mega beam launcher. They're all normal attacks, you know, you don't really want to use these. This is the one you want to use the most. Also has a map skill if you really need to use it. It's only 50 energy unlike the usual 60, so keep that in mind. Flick down with beam weapon up 15% on the enemy, it's solid. And then the twin beam trident EX, its best attack. Range 1 to 5, 4700 attack power, that doesn't matter. And then the energy, on the lowest side, it's good, not the best, but here is where the magic happens. Inflict defense down 25% on the enemy, no requirement or anything, just a solid 25% defense down on the enemy, and that's that, with really good range. Yeah, that is probably really solid. One of the better supporters, no requirements. Throw them on any team and you get the free defense down 25% with the 5 range. Yeah, really good. Also, its abilities are really solid. Increase max energy by 15%, energy 5% at the start of every turn, and then the vigor one, which doesn't really matter too much. The energy ones more than make up for it. The 10%, you know, attack and defense are just extra. But yeah, you're going to be spamming this, especially with the energy abilities, really helpful. Here is the pilot, Asuna Umrit. Decent stats, the range is really good. MP up by 6, only cost is free. I don't need to tell you, more MP is always good. During the next 5, after activating effect, increase accuracy by 100%, restore energy by 50%. Again, one of the more busted skills. You're going to be spamming that 50% energy. I mean 25% defense down attack. You're going to spam it, and then once you run out, if you do run out by that point, you use this and then you get it all back up mostly. Yeah, pretty busted. Basically, this is one of the main supporters you're going to be spamming using. The 25% defense down is just too good. Increase the awakening reaction by 20%. Extra support time, pilot unit will specifically increase damage up to enemy by 15%. Just the usual, you know, the usual. But yeah, really solid. It's not really good energy consumption too and all that. You're going to be spamming this. You want to help your allies with the defense down 25%. Really good mobility. As you can see, it is kind of leagues above like the other supports that I've talked about so far. It's just stupidly good. Only thing is that the terrain is a little bit meh. But yeah, really solid, really good energy and all that. Like, it's just really good. Like, it's simple as that. Like, I was gonna say something else, but yeah, it's just really good. Simple as that. Next up is, spoilers. Next up is the EZA, and if you know the EZA, you're probably wondering, that's the EZA, there's no way it can be good. And the EZA has a gimmick of being a stupidly high attack power suit. The usual terrain, but I think it more than makes up for it for its attack. 270 energy, 71,000 HP, 4 movement is pretty bad, 8200 attack, 68,000 defense, and then 72 mobility, but its skills will more than make up for it. Beam Saber and Beam Rifle are kind of throwaways. Barrage is if you have to use it, you have to use it. It's not the best. You want to save your energy though on the Barrage EX. Range 1 to 3, 6200 power, 57 energy. The higher your remaining HP is, the greater weapon power increase up to 12%. This is good. You don't want to lower your HP. The other attackers need to learn from this. You want your HP high. You're basically already getting the full benefits of it immediately when you use this, the extra 12%. You don't need to be 50% HP or lower like the other dumb requirements. So you're basically getting extra 12% right off the bat as long as you don't get hit. Increase attack by 15%, we saw it. When HP is 50% or above, the usual, this is how it should be, no lower, above, alright? Increase attack by 50%, so that's already a 30% stack up. Plus the 12 you're getting right off the bat, keep that in mind. Reduce enemy attack by physical weapons, 30%, always solid to have for a attacker, nothing wrong with that. Ranged is really high. Almost to 800, but not there yet. High speed, increase movement by 1. You could kind of use that, but you want to save it for your burst attack, which is another 20% extra. During the next fact, activating effect, increase range, increase own damage dealt by 15%, another 15%. Increase MP by 6, always solid. And then another 15% damage up. So yeah. If you do the math, 15%, level up your pilot, another 15%, activate the skill, 20%, so that is a 50%, and then it's base stuff, 15%, another 15% if you're above health, which you should be, that's an 80%, and then the 12%, that is a 92% damage up. This thing will hit hard, it will hit really hard. Sure, you could make the argument that its energy is pretty low and there's no way to get its energy back up. It has no energy skills. This is a full-on nuker, just like the unicorn and all that, but with slightly more damage and a little bit more range. You don't want to be up front in their face like the unicorn. You have the free range. It is a long range, so that makes it good. The energy, like I said, probably going to be a problem in the long run. But I think the damage more than makes up for it. 92% at full potential. Going to hit hard. You can make the argument that you can move up the crossbone, but that is a little bit RNG based. The EZA already has everything right off the bat. Higher HP is above 50%, unlike the other dumb attackers where you need like lower than 50% and all that. You could make the argument to move the unicorn up. I personally wouldn't, because it has slightly lower attack. Actually, let me look at the unicorn again. I may be glazing the EZA a tad little bit. 300 energy, slightly more. Yeah, you don't need the whole closer effect. You can be slightly further away, because you never know, you might get your ass whooped if you get too close. Maybe sometimes you don't want to get close. Beam range weapon is obviously good by 50%, but yeah, I just don't think it's good. Don't get me wrong, like 15%, 15%, plus the 20%, that's 50. And then, granted, you are up close to them. That's an extra 12%, so 62. Plus the extra 15, that is 77, I believe. Unlike the Easy 8's 92%. So yeah, while you could make the argument the Unicorn would be slightly more tankier, the Easy 8 has one job and it does its job well. It will kill. It wants to kill. 92% damage up at full power, full levels and all that. Really good. You don't want to lose HP. You want to keep nuking, run away, and simple as that. The only thing I will throw shade at Gyro is that he only gets one chance step. I don't like how they don't show the chance step here. Chance steps are super important. You could make the argument that it could make or break the tier list because chance steps are just too damn important. I'm only basing it off skills at the moment, but chance steps are really important, so keep that in mind. But yeah, Easy 8 does a shit ton of damage. It's going to hurt the enemy, simple as that. Anyway, number 3 is the Freedom. Freedom is another support. It's actually really solid. Really good terrain, all 4 of them. Really good tags. HP is good. Really high energy. Really good movement. Good attack. Lower defense. And really good mobility. Oh, almost done here. I'm running out of breath. All these skills are pretty basic. 32 for 8,000. Your typical attacks. Full burst mode. Good range. Good attack. Good energy. But no extra effect. Other than the 10% crit. MO1. Exia Beam Saber EX. It's EX move. Range 1 to 4. 4800 power and 43 energy. Pretty solid all around. Inflict damage taken from beam weapons up 25% on the enemy. Really solid because mostly, like I said, everything uses beams. So yeah. Also has a map attack, 3400 attack. Only 100 more than the Xian. And 10 more energy, which you could argue makes it worse. But it has a better map. Like, damn, what was it called? The Xian is only a straight line. Well, this is like a square attack. It has more range and all that. It'll hit more enemies. It's good for wiping out enemies in the beginning. And it also inflicts defense down 15%. Increase max energy by 50%. Restore energy by 5%. When enemy attacks with physical weapons, we do damage by 30%. Really solid. Like, nothing wrong. It has a really good kit, really good terrain. It is a jack of all trades. It knows what it's doing. Here's the pilot, high speed movement +1, so you're basically getting 6 movement, which is really good. Reduce energy consumption by 20%, so if you're going to use like the map attack, you pop this and then reduce it. Sway is always good as a last ditch effort, so support attack, everything has that. Awakening reaction by 20% and the support, and then the usual 1550. All around just really solid. It can do everything. It's not bad at anything either. All of its skills are solid too. You could make, oops, I got out of that. Let me go back into that. You could make the argument that the Xian is better than the Freedom if you wanted to do that too. Perfectly fine. But I just think the Freedom will do more damage in the long run. It has higher damage stats. But the Xian, you could argue, is better because it has better team support. It doesn't have the beam restriction. Maybe I'll leave it like that. Kind of want to move. Nah, I love the Easy 8 damage. It just does a shit ton of damage. But if you wanted to make the argument, you can move the Freedom to free and then do this. Personally, the more I think about, I just think the defense 25% without restriction is way better. I think I'll keep it like that. Yeah, it just does way too much and it's really good. Anyway, next up is the Aerial without, giving the spoiler of number 1. If there's only 1 suit left, so if you know, you know. But number 2 is the Aerial. Really good tags, really good terrain, really good stats. They're pretty good. Like, they're higher than 6500, like 68,000 defense, really good. Attack is really good, energy is really good, HP is pretty good. Like, you can tell that it's a lot more solid than the other ones. Abilities: Beam Saber, Beam Rifle, the typical Eshkushian. Sorry if I mispronounce that. 3900 power, 31 energy, 100 accuracy, and an extra 20% crit just cuz. Damage taken for B weapons up 15%, which is always good. And then the thing that makes it stupid: 1 to 5 range, 5400 power, 51 energy. Inflict damage, defense down 25% on the enemy. This is basically like the Xi'an, but it's doing a lot more damage. This one is only like 47 power, 44 energy, so yeah, but it does a lot more damage. So it also has stupid energy recovery up, just like the Xi'an. When the enemy attacks with B1, we do damage by 30%. Another solid kit. You can't go wrong. Anything that has these 2 energy max up is already good, so you can spam your ult. Selecta has really good stats. Her melee is a little bit low, but you're not going to be using the melee anyway, so boost range up, really good. You could like spam the ultimate halfway across the map, so yeah. Boost weapon energy consumption by 20%. When fighting, crit damage up to enemies by 20%. You want to get a little bit more damage up. And then the support tag, and then just a passive increased range by 20%, just cause. Really solid. And then the usual 15%. You're basically never going to run out of energy with the Aerial. It just has too much. Again, you could make the argument that the Xi'an is slightly better, but I think the Aerial does a lot more damage. It has a little bit more to its kit and all that. What's the final skill of the Xi'an? Let me see real quick. Yeah, I just don't like the stupid vigor thing. Don't like that. Aerial has damage reduction 30%. It's basically doing what it does, just slightly better. So yeah, that's the Aerial at number 2. It's just slightly better than Xi'an. If it didn't have the dumb vigor thing, I would probably put it at 2. But Aerial's a really good tank, and the defense down 25% is always good. And then the one you've been waiting for, Gundam Exia at number 1. And let me just say, the Exia was buffed from the beta, so they only made it slightly better if I could find it. There it is, my baby. I knew he would stay top 1 since the beginning. 4 terrain, always nice. 71,000 HP, really solid. 300 free energy, not sure what the extra free came from, but it's there. 5 movement, really good. 8200 attack, really good. Defense is pretty low, but that won't matter because it's 1 skill, and then 7200 mobility, decent tags. GN sword, 7 sword, and then rifle mode. No extra abilities, all good energy consumption though. Decent attack power, overall just solid. Trans-Am and GN Sword X are going to be your most used skills. Range 1 to 4, 4800 power and 40 energy. Higher your remaining HP is, the greater weapon power increases up to 7%, but because it has 4 range, you're probably going to be spamming this if you can use the GN Sword EX. Ooh, hiccup. Ouch. Oof. Alright, my bad. Yeah, you're probably going to be using Trans-Am. You can't use the EX. GN Sword EX, range 1 to 3, 5600 power, 51 energy. The closer you are to the enemy, the greater weapon power increases. Basically like the Unicorn, but I think a little bit less attack power, but it's still going to hit hard. But its abilities are a lot better in my opinion. Increase attack by 50%. When damage taken is 4,500 or less, there is no effect. That is stupidly broken against little enemy mobs, or like mobs in general. Restore energy by 5% at the start of every turn, always solid. It basically just has a good kit right here all around. You get the 15% damage up, you get the defense, and you get the energy. One more could you want from a suit. It basically has everything you need right there. Yeah, you have the option to use Trans Am. It's still good attack power and good energy consumption, so keep that in mind. You can go either way if you can. If you don't want to get close, spam Trans Am. If you're close enough, spam the EX. And the energy isn't really that much different. So here is the pilot, which also has really good melee damage, 770 damage, really high. Skills, MP up level 4. I mean, increase MP by 6, always good. Movement by 1, which you technically get 6, always good. And then 20% damage up, always solid for an attacker. Increase own damage by 15%, increase MP by 6%, again, MP up, really good. And then when piloting units with specified tab, reduce damage taken by 15%. So it's basically doing everything you could want. Yes, it won't hit as hard as the other attackers like the EZ8 or the Unicorn, but it just has so much viability to it, so much skills to use, like the reduce damage taken under 4500. There is no damage. He just says, no thank you, I don't want the damage, and just blows them away. It just does everything. It has everything you need. It does everything you need. Like I said, it won't hit as hard, but it still has the damage to back up for it. So yeah, it's basically a jack of all trades. You hear me say that all throughout this video, but it really is a jack of all trades. It just does everything. It does everything you want. It has good range. It has a good close range. It has good skills. It just does everything, and the pilot stats are really good. Like, it's just good. Everything about it is good. So yeah, at the end, this is where the end of the tier list. I will go over it, all of it. 14 is narrative, 13 is striker, 12 is Sazabi, 11 is Gundam, 10 is new, 9 is unicorn, 8 is Barbatos, 7 is Phoenix, 6 is Crossbone, 5 is freedom, 4 is EZA, 3 is Xian, 2 is the Aerial, and number 1 is the Exia. If you have any opinions about the tier list, drop them down in the comments. I'll read them. I always do read them. So if you think I'm a dum-dum and you think some suits should be higher than what they are, tell them in the comments too. After playing with most of these suits, this is just what I think is the best at the moment. Could be wrong, could be best, and like I said, at the moment it doesn't really matter. Just pick your favorite suit, you know. If it looks cool, just pick it. It's just from a gameplay perspective. Some suits do it quicker, some suits do it less quicker. Like the freedom is good at clearing AoE, and you know, it has a good AoE. You could put that number 1 just to, you know, make matches quicker, but this is just based off, you know, everything. You know, it actually also has 2 chance steps, which is really good. So the list, the site doesn't really say chance steps, so like I said, you could throw away this tier list because chance steps are really important and all that, but this is just what I think without chance steps or with chance steps, etc. But yeah, overall, this is a tier list. Like I said, drop down, comment your opinion. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Also, a honorable mention, I'll bring it up real quick, because I do believe this unit is basically a hidden UR. It's really damn good, and for no reason either, and it's a freebie. Let me find G-Quox. G-Quox is basically, this is like an honorable mention. I would put this at like over the narrative. That's how good it is. Really good terrain. Decent HP, decent energy, good movement, high attack, good attack and low defense. Doesn't matter though, because it's a one-trick pony. It only has 1 attack, but hear me out. Higher mini HP is a greater weapon power up to 12%. 24 energy, so you're going to be spamming this. Increase attack by 10% and then increase accuracy by 10%. And the pilot isn't here, but Machu is incredibly broken. If I can find her. Let me just find her real quick. Here's Machu. Melee, really good. She has 2 chance steps, by the way. I think she is the only SSR to have 2 chance steps, so that's why I'm putting her as an honorable mention. She basically is a UR in disguise, so attack burst level 3, 15%, not as good as the URs, but you know, it's still an SSR. Sway is always nice. Tags in serious conditions, you want to use the G-Quad. The only character I believe that has this ability to gain an extra chance step. So yeah, broken, basically a secret UR in disguise by having an extra chance step. Increase melee by 15%, and then damage dealt to enemies by 10% when you have a G-Quax unit, which you're obviously going to use with her. So not only does she have stupidly high damage, she also gets an extra chance step just cause. So yeah, that is a honorable mention. Just want to throw out, she would probably be over the narrative, maybe even over the striker. A little bit glazing there, probably around here. But yeah, that's the full tier list. I've rambled long enough. Tell me your thoughts, opinions, and I will see you guys next time. Take care.